Let's turn to Venezuela now, where the government says that the number of dead from torrential rains in the town of Las Tejerias has risen to at least 36. The area has been declared a natural disaster zone after Hurricane Julia's passage through northern Venezuela. Let's get more on this with the Venezuelan journalist Jorge Perez from BBC Mundo. A significant number of dead and other people, I think, still missing. Is this one of the worst disasters?
I mean, landslides and floodings are a common natural disaster in Venezuela. It's, of course, one of the biggest in recent times. I'm talking about recent in the last year. But all of these situations, when you are Venezuelan, brought us all to 1999, when it happened, one of the biggest landslides tragedies in the country. It is known as the Vargas tragedy. So there's a sort of collective trauma for the people in Venezuela when these heavy rains came to the country, because you see this situation repeating again. People losing their relative, death tolls, high death tolls, and rural communities struggling to, try to survive this type of crisis.
This area, though, is not too far from the capital, is it?
No, it's not really far from the capital. And what happened is, when you see Venezuela in a map, in the northern part of the country where most people live, it's also a mountain range area. So these type of tragedies are common in the country. Actually, this is not the only one happening. It's the one with the bigger consequences, but other part of the country also in mountain places are struggling right now with heavy rainfalls.
How effective and how quick was the government response to this?
The government says that they are deploying up to 1,200 rescuers to try to, improve the situation as soon as possible. What happens in Venezuela is that, the country is already suffering from a long-term crisis. We have seen the country going through a humanitarian crisis where the infrastructure is already affected. So delivering clean water and electricity to the people is not always as easy, even in normal conditions. So it's probably one of the main challenges at this point.
And also the long-term rebuilding of this town. How or when might that ever happen?
Well, for some people that we have written about how they witnessed this, some people think that they are not going to recover the houses ever again. Something like a striking quote from the survivors is that the whole town is lost. So what they depend now is on how efficient the government is going to be to help them, to have access to housing again, to an accommodation in which they can remake their life. Some people were saying the only thing that we have left is the clothes we have on.
Yeah, okay, a desperate situation. Jorge, thank you very much indeed.